by yourself.
Hey, listen, no cutting people off, man.
Okay,
do you know what it means to equivocate?
I asked you not to cut people off, man. So
okay, so the 2 points, and then you guys can disagree with it because it just makes it fun. You don't become pregnant by yourself, and then when you are a pregnant woman as a biological organism, you are not autonomous because it isn't just you. To have autonomy means that it's only you.
Yeah. Do you know what equivocation
Tupac, it's still not on you, sir. We have a few other people that will respond. Right? Love is first, or love will share, and then you can respond to him, Tupac. Go ahead.
Yeah, all these equivocations are meaningless abstractions, and I just want to address the industry and cite some industry statistics. Abortion is a $12 billion a year industry in this country. Planned Parenthood generates over $600 million in donations, as well as over $600 million in federal donations. Additionally, over 100,000 children's heads are cut off, their bodies mutilated, desecrated, utterly destroyed, and sucked into oil barrels every single month in this country. 100,000 Americans, and 80% of those are ADOS Americans. There is a black genocide in this country that has existed for over 50 years. Over 50 million people have been murdered by your government and by abortion doctors and by their lawyers and by the taxpayers. I am complete.
There you go, Tupac. It's on you now.
Look, I just asked the question. Do you know what equivocation means?
Yes. Now, is that responding? Who you asking that to? Is it a director to the room, or who's the director to that?
I guess to Oni and or Trigger.
Okay, so Oni and Trigger, he has a question for you. One of you guys take it. So Trigger, you off the mic first. So the question is yours now. Tupac, ask Trigger the question.
Yeah, do you know what equivocation?
No, I'm black and slow. I do not. Please educate me.
Look, yeah, equivocation is when you use a term or a phrase or some kind of concept.
Sharing that womb with another occupant, right? That's the point.
Look, what I heard you say.
Okay, real quick, Tupac, before you guys keep going, hold on. Before you guys keep on going, I wanted to respond to something that Ark said in the chat, right? In which Ark, I prefer if you came to the stage. I don't know who you're responding to, but he's responding to one of these ladies that made a statement and said that male sperm ends up in a woman's brain. You feel me? And Ark said that that's not true, and I'm saying that it is true, but it's not that simple, right? It's something called microchimerism, right? Basically, what it is there's presence of male DNA, or foreign DNA is what they call it, in a woman's brain, right? Now, there's natural ways and there's artificial ways for microchimerism to happen, right? Artificial ways would be like blood transfusions, probably shit like that, right? That's the artificial way. A natural way is through childbirth. That's one of them, right? Whatever else, right? Basically, what that means is that, like, say, if a woman has a male child, that there could be DNA that's attached to her brain from her carrying that male child for that 9 months, whatever else that she did, whatever, it can happen, right? But where you guys are both right and wrong at is, she's right as in it can occur, yes, it can occur, but you're right as in it's not 100%. I think it's like 30% of women in general suffer from the microchimerism, right? It's not exactly 100%. So yeah, but it does happen though. There can be, I can have nothing a woman and get her pregnant with my male seed, and yes, my DNA can be in her brain 100%. So she's actually not lying about that. Go ahead, Ada. I believe you were the one speaking. No, already Trigger. Tupac, whoever was speaking before.
Yeah, so you can say that, like,
We just need a moment to explain. Make it make sense. Renslayer had a life on the timeline. You had a life on the timeline. So did you. So did I.
This changes everything.
This changes nothing. I'm sorry, Hunter. We don't protect. Protect? Is that what you think we've been doing? We haven't been protecting. We've been destroying. We can't go back to pruning those branches.
World with a fetus inside of you. That's just not the same sense of autonomous that the pro-choicer is using. So it's a clear equivocation. I mean, it just seems so obvious. It's hard to believe that, even to say it.
Wait, did you not know that Clown House isn't Harvard or Yale University? You're dealing with people that barely graduated high school. Did you know that?
All right. Well, I mean, okay. I don't think that's relevant.
Now that we're going over an equivocation,
Yeah, you equivocating now, man. You calling a spade, spade. Calling a spade, spade.
Return back to the conversation. We now know what equivocation fallacy is. Can we return back to whether or not abortion is or is not murder?
Do you believe it's murder?
Yes.
So at all stages, you believe life starts at conception?
Yes.
And so you don't believe in any exceptions, rape or incest, except for
No.
the life of the mother? Do you believe in the life of the mother?
Even in the instances of the life of a mother, I would assume that the mother would pick the child over herself.
Okay, but in your worldview, would you be for abortion to save the life of the mother?
No, I would not.
Wait.
Holy shit.
Wait. You said you wouldn't be in favor? So if the mother was going to die...
answered your question.
Hold on. You weren't answering the question, so relax. So, just to be clear, you said if the mother is pregnant and the pregnancy is like she's on death's door, you would not be in favor of an abortion.
No.
Okay, and if the child would be at risk of dying as well, would you be in favor of an abortion? Both of
No.
them.
No.
So,
Wait, did you understand the question there?
okay, wait. Let me rephrase it.
He did. I think he doesn't understand his answer. He's giving
I'm just morally shocked, man. Right there.
Man, he's equivocating.
Why are you shocked? That's his stance.
Joe Biden said...
Hold on. I got to pause the stage again because Rich is an idiot. I'm sorry, guys. Rich is an idiot, okay? So, fuck, I hate when people are just college dropouts or, half-baked intellectuals, right? Okay, so look, right? When a man and a woman have a child, right, or when there's a fetus growing inside of a woman, right, there are two sets of DNA present, right? Right? There's the woman's DNA, which she already has inside her own fucking body, so it wouldn't be present in her head, right? And then there's the foreign DNA that comes from the sperm. That's why it's...
That's not true for trans men. That's not true for trans men.
Shut up, bro. I'm talking with you, right? Right? So therefore, we get 23 chromosomes from each parent. So since we get 23 chromosomes from each parent, how the son's DNA can affect the mother's brain is because the son's DNA, 23% of those chromosomes come from the father's seed, right? The son is affecting you
where I can know, because so many people not only do they understand the power of...
Man, birthday celebrations are pagan holidays.
Okay, happy birthday to you too, love, whoever you are. I love what you can do, though. I tell you what.
Go fuck yourself. Shavua Tov, another Shabbos miracle. Ribono Shalayla. Bonus Shalayla.
You would still not be in favor of an abortion, just to be clear.
No, I don't think so.
And somehow that... Okay. I've never heard someone say this, so, I really don't even know what to say.
It's fine to have that view. I don't have anything logically. You heard me say the same thing.
I'll ask you a question in the chat.
Is murder murder? Is that a real question?
I just don't see a point if the child is the main thing that you're trying to protect. I just don't see a point in not saving the mother if the mother will die and the child is going to die. I don't understand.
Because the way it works in real life is you have to prioritize one thing over another. So,
but if the child is going to die, why wouldn't
you're going
you
to prioritize? Right, but you don't know. How do you prove that the child will die?
It's a hypothetical.
Doctors have been wrong.
Why does Cherokee
It's
doing this?
hypothetical, Papa. All I'm saying is doctors have been wrong before, right?
Okay, say God told us. Why are we doing this?
Look, you could just stipulate that mom will die unless you get the abortion. Right? Would you allow the abortion? Would it be permissible?
What does the law tell us? Not what your local Democrat politician tells us, but what does the law of God tell us?
Oh, what's up? Talking about ought. So what ought happen in that case, Trigger? If the mom is gonna die?
Yeah, the mom dies, the fetus dies too.
Look, the child should always be prioritized.
No, that wasn't the question. If it's guaranteed, either both will die or the mom can live if they abort. Which are you going for?
How do you guarantee that? Tell
It's
me.
the hypothetical.
You guarantee
It's a
that the
hypothetical.
child's gonna die.
It's stipulated.
I don't know how. Well, in your hypothetical, tell me how you know the child will die.
It's stipulated.
In this hypothetical, I'm God, so I know.
You know, you're God. Well, if you're God, I can't
In
question
this hypothetical, I'm God. In this hypothetical, I'm God.
He's just all-knowing God. He's giving you.
My hypothetical answer to you being the hypothetical God is that if you tell me that the child will die, then I'll say, yeah, then save the mother because you're a God. And
Okay.
What you say goes.
Not,
Does
was
that
that
work for you,
command?
Papa?
No, he didn't
You
command
asked me
you.
how I know. I didn't command you in the situation. I'm just asking, what would you do? What would you see as the right thing to do?
I've already answered it.
No, you
If
did.
you know,
You danced around it and said, well,
And
if
I'm
you're
on the
God.
pro-life side. I'm on the pro-life side, but I think you're being deliberately obtuse.
I'm not. The thing is, Papa, you don't know this in real life. Things are not.
It's not
clear.
real life. It's hypothetical. It's hypothetical.
Right, but I answered your hypothetical. But I want us to
You
take
didn't.
it outside of the hypothetical.
No, you did not
and
answer.
focus on. I did. I said if you know that the child will die, then sure, save the mother.
Okay, there you go.
But my
That's
question
all
to
I
you
wanted to
is,
know.
how do you know the child will die? In real life, that's not how it works. Because doctors have been wrong before.
Yeah, but you can
We
make,
know this.
you
But
can
they've
make an
been right,
inference,
too.
Right? If you have good reason
Right,
to believe.
but how do you know if this is the time that they're wrong?
Look, we make decisions without 100% certainty all the time, right? That's what being reasonable is, right? If you can make an inference that it's more likely than not that both mom and baby will die if you don't act now, then you ought to act, right?
Right. So tell the people at the hospital who there's a 10% chance of surviving, and their family members are saying, even if there's 10% chances, we want the doctors
Well, that's
to do
their choice.
everything in their power.
They can do
And
that.
that's their
Exactly.
choice.
And I want to respect that.
Fine,
But
don't-
you believe in a world where they don't have a choice. That they
No,
would
I
use that
believe
10%
in a world.
to save the
I
child.
believe in a world. Don't try to use that. That was just an example. I believe in a world
What?
where abortion should be illegal.
Okay,
Yeah, well, wow.
so literally, I just said that your worldview, you don't believe they should have a choice in that matter.
Correct.
Okay, so what do you mean don't use it? You just said it. All right, anyways.
No, that example was to illustrate a different point. That's why I said don't pay attention to that. I was answering Papa's hypothetical.
But now
I'm
I have a
gonna
question,
ask-
Rada. So why do you believe that? Because I asked in the comments last year. Why do you believe that autonomy should take precedence over the fetus's right to live?
Why I should believe, how do I come to this? I believe that everyone should.
Good evening, Clown House. Just want to remind you, vote Trump and go to the gym, my fellow fatties.
You're a little late,
Oh, muscle.
But I am going to say this: like, if you look back in like older times, like colony settlers times and all this stuff, do you know from continent to continent? Do you know what the average walking distance was per human being on the fucking planet? Was
Per day?
8 to 20 miles per day.
Oh yeah, no shit. They
Most
didn't
of
have
you-
cars.
Most of you don't even walk a mile.
Yeah, he's
Like
right.
a mile.
We live sedentary lifestyles.
I have a coworker on Ozempic and she's throwing up all day. It's not good for her. She's sick all
It took me a year to hold in my diet. I run Ironman triathlons, marathons, all kinds of crazy shit. It took me a year and almost about 3 blood works to hone in my diet. And when I compare other athletes compared to what I eat, none of us eat the same way. Like, for example, Saturday, I went on an 80-mile bike ride with a group of guys. All my body required was having avocado, a piece of toast, multigrain toast, and a cup of coffee. I had no dinner the night
because you're not an athlete.
And that's also because you're an immigrant.
whatever whatever it is. Is what I'm saying is that I see a lot of people that try to go on diets to change their bodies, lose weight, whatever that is. They're not consistent with it. And not only that, diets and fats are not one size fits all. You need to work with a professional. You need to look at your blood type, your nutrients, everything that goes into your body, holding it to your style. My diet, the only thing I did is white rice, fish, and steamed vegetables.
And river water. Don't forget that river water.
Oh,
That's
but
it.
not everybody has that.
All that mercury is crazy, dude.
No, but that works for me. And I'm lean. I'm 11.5 body fat.
Be
I'm 6 feet.
careful.
Some of y'all niggas must have got home late as hell, like early as hell.
But yeah, it's like 4 a.m. Man, we was gonna stay.
Real fast and civilly. You said yesterday that 14% of Black Americans make up 14% of the voting populace, right? We got that from the article. We also got from the article that Black women vote 10% more than Black men, right? Okay.
I love that it's fat, but I'm just shocked that it took this long for me to get this.
Aww. At least you figured out that you've got a...
What? Get what? Like a trimmer for your beard
I
hair?
don't want to record it. Love, you need to... I don't want him to know my personal business, but Love, you need to relax, bro. You're crazy.
Oh, I'm crazy? You support terrorists, you fucking stupid puta.
Okay, Love, didn't we tell you...
Didn't I tell you that you need to go shave that man face of yours? That disgusting projecting chin? You got a fucking wait. Are you a bodybuilder? Look at that chin. It's disgusting. Go get a trimmer. I can see the hairs coming out of your fucking chin. It's disgusting.
Love. Listen, John. First of all, my jaw and my chin is really nice, mashallah. Second of all, there is no hair on my chin or my jaw. I think you're looking at my hair from my actual hair and thinking it's something else. If you look at the way it's whisking over my face, that's my actual hair off of my head. I think you're a little bit delusional right now. Did I lose like service?
Oh no, I can hear you.
Yeah.
No, I was in the kitchen packing my bowl so I could come back here and keep making fun of you. I mean, you know you're talking to a trans Jewish guy, right? I mean, you're talking to a Jewish guy who pretends he's an Australian. You spend 40 hours a week talking to neo-Nazis. You got chin growing out your hair. You say you go to the gym, but you're on this fucking app all day long talking about Jew hate. I mean, you're retarded and you're going to tell me I need to calm down?
Okay, listen. You're being really crazy.
You're being really crazy all day long, 40 hours a week, talking to a neo-Nazi who's married, and you think you're in love with him? You're a fucking loser. A fucking loser. Do your parents know what you do all day long? Does your fucking brother or sister or your parents know what you do all day long? You fucking loser. Get a fucking life, loser. You get roasted right now, bitch. You're Syrian, Palestinian ass. Play the dub kid, bitch. Get me some menses, you fucking hoe. Get me some fucking mensive hoe.
He knows how to engage with the opposite sex, something that you don't know. You don't know how to speak with the opposite sex. You understand?
You support terrorists, and you're stupid. And you're ugly, too.
You don't
And you're in love with a married man.
You don't know how
You're out here 40 hours a week.
Listen.
40 hours a week. Get out of bed, fatty, before you die. Before your life is over, fatty.
First of all, you're the one that's in his 40s, not me. I'm sorry to tell you.
Vote Trump. Go to the gym, fatty.
Second of all, stop staring at my
Vote
photos.
Trump, go to the gym, fatty. Vote Trump and 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 go to the gym, fatty. At least Christy says that she likes the fact that I do yoga. I mean, Christy, do you like the fact that Princessia does Jew hate propaganda 40 hours a week with a neo-Nazi? You got a fucking life loser and your parents raised you to do this? Do something with your life, you fucking twat.
Go work with that. I don't know how many times I have to tell you, stop talking to me.
You took out your brain.
I don't know how many times I gotta tell you to stop. No, don't, quit, stop, leave me alone. You are like obsessed or something.
Alexa, play victim.
Yeah, play victim. You play victim every single time I pack your ass up.
Somebody can't pack me up.
What's up?
I was about $2 to pack your bag.
So 2300 is 38.33. I was off about 33 cents. So the
He was technically off about $2. You said 30.
In the chat for those of you who may be new to this conversation, but hold on, copy and paste. Hold on, paste.
Anywho, you know my black friends, they tell me, oh, you sound like you're black, you're white. I'm like what?
It's kind of like, hey, if you're a vegetarian, most likely you watch
Sticking anything up your ass can cause some corners.
Yeah, you might from time to time
It looks like
have
Neferhead.
your political affiliation in the rainbow brown. So, yeah.
It's only the bottoms though, not the tops.
Better be the pitcher than the catcher. But I would say,
but overall,
let me just finish
I'd rather be the batter.
Let me just hear the flat part. I just think that it's best to have more of a balanced diet, you know, with the fruits, vegetables, carbs, and stuff, instead of just being strictly vegetarian.
So your diet depends also on regionality. So like you can't sit there and go to Inuit people who like basically have 10 months of fucking winter where you can't grow vegetables, they can't find or plant, and they live off of seal blubber and whales and fucking other marine animals and say that they have a worse diet. Yeah, their teeth are a little fucked up, but that's probably because of the introduction to colonial foods and other things that our diets are not compatible. Like what we eat in Ireland is not compatible to what Native Americans. This is why Native Americans, once they were put on and conquered and said, hey, here's how you have to eat, their diets turned to shit. But if anybody who's eating wild bison knows, that shit is good. It's fucking mean.
The fuck?
I mean,
incredible.
It's right, but you have to be able to go out and do that. Wild venison, wild elk, moose. This shit is good. I don't eat chickens that you buy in a store. I go out and shoot grouse. It's great. I'll shoot a rabbit for the night, and it's good for you.
You ever ate iguana?
I took this picture. We bulking up 2 months ago.
Iguana has salmonella.
Only in Puerto Rico.
That shit got salmonella, man.
That's pretty good.
Actually, wild ones don't. They just generally don't have diseases that you have. It's usually when it comes into contact with food facilities or food processors that you end up with the salmonella.
Wait, no, iguanas?
We are going to be talking to OnlyFans YouTube audience.
Correct. And plus, most of the shit I eat is burnt to a hockey puck status. I don't have to worry about it.
That's a good physique, dude.
Bro, they got them in the backyard. They give you the ability and self-order to kill them, and you can eat them. You can kill as much as you want. They literally just sit there in the trees. So if anyone want iguana,
Why would you kill a cute little iguana?
hey Brad, if you them motherfuckers eat up all your flowers, man, all your plants,
you know what? They're an
all the
invasive
papaya
species
trees.
now. They're an invasive species down
Exactly.
They're not supposed to be down there.
Yeah,
And so what they've done is they allow people to hunt them because they're growing so much in number. So they get rid of them and the python and the anaconda.
Hey Brad, go get you an Instapot and an air fryer, and it can make cooking a lot easier.
Air fryer and the Instapot I turned into a bomb, so we're not going to do that shit again.
What? Yeah, you gotta set the timers. But
Yeah,
those two are like my cooking
Did you hear him
staples with
turn it
ADHD.
into a bomb? He definitely set the time.
That man don't know how to cook, man.
Stick to the air fryer. Stick to the air fryer.
I melted the salt. I melted the
How?
Don't
How did you melt
He don't know how to
it?
cook. He's a man.
buttons, and it went through. This is why I cook over fire. I create a small campfire, I cook over there, or I eat fucking just packets that
You have a
I
Dutch
know
oven,
are
huh, Brad? Cast iron.
Yes, I do. I have that cast iron skillet that I have to season out, and I just throw it in ashes.
You
or I
don't
throw
never
my
wash
steak
that
around.
shit.
No.
With my ADHD, that's how I cook, because I will put things on the stove and forget they exist. Because I'll go to wash the dishes and I'll forget that it's on there. So I have to have timers, or I have to have something that automatically cuts off. So that's why I was saying an air fryer or an Instapot.
So I did this. I tried to bake cookies when my girl was visiting me, my little one. And I got the cookie things, and I had Sarita, who's on this app. She was walking me through this. I'm FaceTiming her. I follow her. She's like, okay, good. Now do this. I put it in the fucking oven thing. And I'm sitting here, and I'm literally at my kitchen bar area. And I'm sitting there having just a glass of bourbon. And nothing major. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't drunk. I was just sipping on it. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, Sarita, honey, is there supposed to be flames coming out of the oven? And she's like, what are you talking about? No, that's impossible. And I did the FaceTime thing, and I flipped the fucking camera over, and there were 4-foot flames coming out. I had to redo the cupboards. I had to do this. I tried to cook Thanksgiving meal. I had to redo the sheetrock over the fucking ceiling and the drywall because of all the shit that like blew up on me while doing Thanksgiving dinner. So no, I'm not going to.
Brad, when you go for your road trip, all these women, you need to hit us all up, and we can make you meals on your way. You can stop in and have a meal, because I know you're a good guy. Everybody's bad.
Just don't say the D word or the W word. Ain't that right, Chivo?
Don't say anything.
Criteria for her house. I wish. Lap pool for her dog.
Abby's a cool fucking lady. I really like. She's so.
Abby is a coupon clipper. She's always at the grocery store.
Oh, yeah, it's Edmonds.
Please, you're giving me a headache, sir. This is a migraine attack 2.0. I can't do another one. You have to stop talking so much. You're giving me a very bad headache.
Oh my god.
And you're God, 100% certainty that the child is going to die, then sure, save the mother.
Real quick, and that's what Trigger saying is 100%.
We totally understand all of that. If we literally excerpt that one paragraph, and again, it states, for those of you who haven't read it, maybe you're driving or wherever, Pew Research estimates Black Americans will make up about 14% of the electorate in this November's presidential election. At what point did you hear me say that Black people will make up 60% or 40% of any electorate?
You said yesterday that of the 14%, you attributed 4% to Black males and
and the other 10% of the 14% to black women. That's the consensus. You cannot get that from the article.
I'm the one that
Which
said
I didn't say that.
60-40. So
Right, I understand. No, Ross, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Brian. I told Brian I didn't say that.
if 14% represents a certain number and there's 10% more black women, wouldn't that be a 60-40 split of whatever that number is?
Yes.
Right. That's
what. If you're making yes, it would be. It would be. It would be. Yes, Brian. She doesn't understand.
So to your point then, right? Let's say, okay, that is 60-40 of the electorate. Absolutely. No problem. Then of the total overall electorate, what percentage of that is attributed to black men?
That's irrelevant because we're talking about what the article says. You can't get that from the article.
Because Ross, if you were listening, I said that neither party, Democrat or Republican, needs the black male vote in order to win. It is not a necessity for Republicans or for Democrats to pander specifically to black men numerically in order to win the presidency of the United States. It is not necessary.
You can't get that from the article. You can't get that from the article, and you don't know at this point what the absolute numbers are.
It's more of them, Ross, than it is of us. Absolutely, I can get that.
You don't know. You probably can go pull it, but as we speak right now, you don't know what the absolute numbers are of black male voters to black female voters. The absolute number. You don't know. Now, you might just
know what, Ross? You're right.
But right now, you don't know.
You're right. I'm wrong. You got it. You're right. You're right.
I would just say that if the polls are correct, that we need all the voters that we can get, no matter what they are.
Brian, I love your optimism.
Kept popping into romance the other day. Yeah, it's kind of strange.
Yeah, these people that have all these fake accounts are so weird.
There's a cute cat in the photo that I had no idea it was. Oh, hey, John. Can you tell Nora more about like yoga and like?
Yeah, Dannon's makes a lot of really great yogurts, and sometimes if you get wheat germ, you can put that on there, or even walnuts.
Sorry, yoga. You know the actual practice.
So before you start, these the YouTube audience of Mr. Kitover, we have today with us Christy, who really is Australian, and Noura, who really is from heaven. Go on, Kitover.
Wow, you sure think highly of yourself. So as we were saying, yoga, not yogur, yoga, is union of the body and union of the body with the universe, which is silence. That means you shut the fuck up and you stop talking. You stop letting your brain run on automated and you just hold a pose and take a deep breath and stretch your body.
Can we interview you for a second for your audience?
Go ahead.
Okay. So, Mr. Kitover, we understand that you were born in 1982, correct?
I'm sorry, I won't be answering any specific questions about age, date of birth, social security numbers, place of address, or any other stupid questions. If you have any interesting questions, I'll take one more, but that'll be it. I'll take one more question. Go ahead.
I brought one. When did you start practicing yoga?
It's called yoga. Yoga, not yogur. You hear what you're saying, Christy? It's not an R at the end. It's not yogur. It's yoga. And I started practicing yoga back in 2006.
Like, what got you interested in it? Did you just kind of stumble across it, or?
No, I started doing Bikram yoga in Lincoln Park in Chicago. It's like hot yoga.
Oh, so hot yoga. And
then when you start buying books, I bought a lot of books on yoga. And when you start reading the books, you're like, oh shit, this is really complicated. And there's a lot of information here. What is all this about? And then you find out it's about your body. It's about flexibility. It's about strength. It's about intelligence. It's about God. It's about the universe. It's not yoga. Say it with me now, Christy. I know you're a Jewish guy. Go ahead. Yoga. Say it like an American now. Yoga. Yoga. Say it. Go ahead.
I did yoga.
No. You're so stupid. Fucking.
That's okay.
You're such a queer.
Kids over. Tell us a little bit more about why you attack and insult so many people on this app.
Because I bottle you up. I bottle you up like a winemaker, and your wine, everything about you and everything you say is like rotten wine. You're just a waste.
Oh, no.
You're garbage.
Okay, that's not very nice. But do you feel that you have a mental illness diagnosis?
No, you're garbage. I bottled your ass up. You and Diego, you're poison wine. You're just garbage. You're garbage wine. You're trash. You're a loser.
Diego is the best of the best wine.
Listen, keep playing your fuck loser game, loser. I don't give a fuck what you do with your life. I'll keep recording you and making fun of you forever. I'll never let this go. You're retarded, and so are you, Christy, and so are you, John. Do you guys even read a book? Come on, read a fucking book to me right now and prove you're not fucking retarded.
Yes. I'm gonna read to you. I'm on chapter 3. Okay, hold on. That's so good. Let me go get it from my. I'm eating some spinach pies right now.
Spinach pies. Hey, John, welcome to the room.
So, welcome to the show. We are.
Hey, Jacob, what's going on? What kind of pizza you getting tonight? Hello?
It's called.
I know what you're talking about.
There's a term in philosophy called the act itself. Right? You can't even do
That's
the
a
act.
term in philosophy.
So
Okay, so the act itself is evil to you.
Correct.
But you said it's evil.
Damn, they finally kicked me from the room.
Everybody was saying, how could you when you treat your black folks
Exactly.
like
You can't.
And I don't believe
You can't be a global policeman. You can't be a global policeman when you're fucking your own people.
And they still doing it, Fly, and they are global.
So let's put this in perspective. First off, America had a isolationist ideology. They weren't even trying to be the world's fucking policemen. They were dragged into World War I and World War II. Let's be honest about this. They were dragged into those wars. At the time they were in those wars, we were actually segregated in this country, split. However, it did not stop the Negro from excelling in this country. We had plenty of college, universities, with doctors, with lawyers, their own infrastructure. See, this is the thing. If you really want to see why integration was done, go find me a Negro baseball team. Go find me a Negro basketball team. Go find me a Negro that owns a movie production theater, let alone multiple ones.
I'm glad you said that.
Because that's literally what this is about. It was the absorption of our functioning industries into their infrastructure. Don't play.
Correct. And also, let me add on to this, and this is just one of the, I guess you can call it like stakes when it comes to like, I know the difference between sellouts and no sellouts. So we all, I hope everybody knows the Negro League, but what I found out doing more historical, research on the Negro League, when it comes to even Jackie Robinson, it was like they worked. You too. Have a good evening.
You changed from just eating a bunch of bread and being top.
All right, so what book are you going to read?
Oh, you're back?
Yeah, if you want to do this right, you got to do it right. What book are you going to read?
Can I surprise you?
No, you got to tell me. I got to put a title up.
Okay, I already told you. You asked me what was the last book you were reading. I told you the Palestine sermons.
Oh, okay. Let me Google that one. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm on chapter 3, so I'm not going to start over because we need to kind of finish up. Let's go to chapter 3. Hopefully you didn't hear what I said before you gave me room because I was talking about food. Okay, so chapter 3 is titled The State of Jerusalem and the Test of Wealth. Okay? See how long it is? It's a little bit long. I don't think you can handle
I mean, I'll give you. I'm listening. I'll give you 60 seconds of my ear. Go ahead. You better pick something good because I'll give you 60 seconds.
I don't know. I'm just reading from the chapter. There are certain events that take place for which it would simply be a form of malpractice for the sermon at Friday not to talk about. We do not talk about these events because it is enjoyable to do so. It is because, as we have said many times before, the purpose of Jum'ah, which for Friday, is for the Muslim public to be aware of the most pressing Islamic and ethical issues, what matters are of the most concern for the entire Muslim Ummah. Jum'ah was never intended to be a means of escaping from the demands of this world. Islam is a religion entirely at peace with the practical affairs of the world, and Jum'ah is at the heart of how the Muslim community comes together to address matters of public concern. Recently, we woke up to the news that the United Arab Emirates has signed some type of normalization accord with Israel, according to which the UAE and Israel will enjoy full political and diplomatic relations. The Trump administration describes the deal as a peace accord, but this is quite spurious because the UAE and Israel have never been at war.
Okay.
Why do we need...
Have a good one.
Are you done?
I can't take it. I can't listen anymore of that. That's so stupid.
Why?
It's not philosophical. It's not philosophical. It's just political.
Okay, no, listen. I mean, it's we can do philosophical. Hold on, let me get another one.
Well, maybe he could
Oh, we
read
get another
something
book.
that's philosophical.
No, we don't need to read.
Okay.
Let's start doing that stuff. Let me pick another one. Let's see. Because I was reading. You said what was the most recent thing I was reading? Let's see. So many textbooks.
Do you have any book recommendations, John?
Let's do. Oh, about Jews. I have a book about Jews. Evil and Suffering in Jewish Philosophy. You want to read that, Mr. Kittover? Voila.
What's it called? What's it called?
Evil and Suffering in Jewish Philosophy by Oliver Leaman.
Okay, let me hear it. Let me hear 3 chapter titles, and then I'll pick the best one.
Number 1 is Job. Number 2 is Philo. Number 3 is Sadia. Number 4
Okay,
is
go
Maimonides.
to Job. Oh, go to Maimonides and just read us 60 seconds.
Let's see. Maimonides. Okay. Philosophy in the Jewish world continued to be influenced by the sorts of issues which had earlier arisen in Islamic philosophy, and many Jewish thinkers went on to explore the notions of evil and suffering. It is hardly surprising that they employed the technical apparatus of Islamic philosophy to try to get clearer on the problems which they were considering in Jewish philosophy, since Islamic philosophy during the Middle Ages represented some of the most exciting and daring thinking then available. This approach was continued with enormous philosophical elan by the giant figure of Jewish philosophy, Moses Maimonides. He was born in Cordova in 1135 and died in Egypt in 1204. He spent most of his life in North Africa and Egypt, his family being obliged to flee the Almohads in Spain, but he remained a symbol of all that was remarkable in medieval Spanish culture. During its domination by Muslims, Spain witnessed a flowering of intellectual thought by all 3 religions, but especially by Islam and Judaism. It is customary to see that this time as a golden age of some sort, a period of interreligious harmony and coexistence, but this is far from the truth. There did exist during the Islamic era in Spain periods of relative toleration and cooperation between the diverse ethnic groups, but this was no means the norm. When non-Muslim communities were tolerated, this was often due to their usefulness to the Muslim rulers, and once that usefulness had diminished, the toleration diminished also. Spain was also the territory over which competing Berber tribes from North Africa fought, and the frequent disruption and occasional outbursts of religious fanaticism was very unsettling for non-Muslim groups, and even for those Muslims who did not come from the right part of the community. Despite these political problems, Islamic Spain experienced an extraordinary development of a full range of intellectual pursuits ranging from astronomy to medical science. At the heart of these developments lay philosophy, which was pursued by some of the best minds of the time and came to have a huge influence upon Christian Europe through the translations of the works of Averroes, Averroes, and Maimonides himself. The Jewish community in Spain was culturally at one with the Islamic community, with the exception of their religious differences in the works of the Islamic philosophers such as Ibn Tufayl, Ibn Bajjah, and Ibn Rushd, were much read and studied by Jewish intellectuals. Jews in Spain shared the arrogant attitude of their Muslim peers towards philosophical and other kinds of intellectual thought, which emanated from the eastern part of the Islamic world, such as German Jews nearer to our own time disparaged disparaged thought from beyond the German-speaking world. Maimonides played a full part in the political life of the Jewish community in the Islamic world, producing religious works intended to guide them in their difficulties with rulers who did not always respect religious diversity. As a doctor and a businessman, he was very involved with the practical side of life. But his main claim to fame lies in the huge output of legal and philosophical works which continue to be studied and argued over today. His two most important works are the Mishnah Torah of 1180 and the Guide of the Complex of 1190. The former is a compilation and systemization of Jewish law which attempted to bring order and rationality into the organization of religious law. The Guide is a philosophy book, but far from an ordinary one. Maimonides starts off by examining some key terms in Hebrew as they appear in the Bible, and ends up by presenting a whole metaphysics which seeks to show to someone skilled in science how religion fits in with the Aristotelian view of the world. It is one of the most discussed and interpreted books in Jewish philosophy, and some have argued that its real message is cleverly hidden beneath its apparent argument. Some passages are so difficult to understand that an enormous variety of interpretation has been suggested. To a degree, the controversy surrounding the book has a lot to do with its central figure, the fact that Maimonides seems to be doing something like traditional Jewish philosophy, and yet he is really offering some very radical answers to the traditional questions of that philosophy. We shall see when we come to discuss his approach to evil and suffering that he insists that Jewish philosophy cannot continue to go in its previous direction. Maimonides represents Spanish Jewish thought at its most self-confident. He claims not to think of much of those Jewish predecessors, but there can be no doubt that the metaphysics he constructs is built up partially on the many significant Jewish thinkers in Spain whose works were much read by intellectual Jews in the 12th century. As an exile from Spain, he may have had an over-affectionate attitude to Spanish culture, but he embodies some of the principal features of that culture. What are these features? First, they are based upon a tendency in Andalus to try to look at text in a new and original way, without being too respectful about the accretions of previous commentators. Then there was an emphasis upon thoughts having a scientific basis, in this case largely being identified with Aristotelianism. Lastly, and perhaps of greatest significance, there is much confidence in natural science and the ability of reason and experiment to discover the truth. That is not to say that revelation was ignored, quite the contrary. But given the great upsurge in astronomical, medical, mathematical, and philosophical efforts in Andalus, it became evident that a number of effective techniques had arisen to answer quite basic questions about the world and the people in it, which were not specifically religious techniques. If religion was going to continue to be worth studying by intelligent people, it must be shown to fit in with all these discoveries. At the time of Maimonides, there was not only scientific optimism, but also philosophical optimism, and we shall see that Maimonides set about defending a scientific view of evil and suffering as philosophically respectable, but at great cost to traditional religious attitudes. Before we look at what Maimonides had to say about evil and suffering, it is important to say something about the approach which is being taken to Maimonides here. Maimonides is a highly controversial figure in Jewish thought. His works are often regarded as laying down the principles of orthodoxy when they deal with law, but when he discusses philosophy, there is a lot of argument as to his meaning. Many commentators argue that Maimonides was intent on reconciling religion with philosophy, and his philosophical works have to be read in the right way if we are going to appreciate how he sought to carry out his intention. Maimonides himself refers to the ways in which a writer can conceal his real opinions in his writings, and this has often been taken to be a broad hint that the intelligent reader should look for clues which indicates how Maimonides was hiding his real as opposed to his declared opinions. This has led, as one might expect, to a good deal of detective work by commentators who each...
This project is not endorsed or sponsored by Taurus.
By commentators who each think that they know where their real opinion lies, and each of whom can produce a good argument for a particular interpretation. Why did Maimonides write in what has been taken to be such a cryptic way, producing such difficulties for his readers? Was it just because he enjoyed wrapping his words in mystery? Like most writers of Islamic and Jewish philosophy, Maimonides had in mind a particular audience for his writings. Indeed, his major philosophical work, The Guide of the Perplexed, is addressed to a specific reader, to an individual who has knowledge in both the secular and the religious sciences, and wonders how to reconcile them. An Aristotelian possesses an account of the world which is entirely naturalistic, that no principle is required which comes from beyond that world for an explanation to be satisfactory. Yet, Judaism seems to suggest quite specifically that such an external principle of the world is necessary if we are to understand the world, and that principle is embodied in the deity. Maimonides was here addressing a problem which only a very limited number of people in the Jewish community would have. Very few people would be troubled with the knowledge of Aristotelianism in the first place. Most Jews would follow the principles of their religion to some degree or other without bothering about its metaphysical underpinnings. Maimonides felt that it was very important not to interfere with the beliefs of ordinary believers while trying to settle the doubts of the more sophisticated members of the community. It would be very harmful to the faith of the unsophisticated if they were to be confronted with some of the philosophical problems which arise from considering these religious notions. Not because these notions cannot be philosophically analyzed in ways which are entirely compatible with the faith, but because the ordinary believer would be unable to understand how this reconciliation was effected. As a result, his faith in Judaism might be weakened. So it is incumbent upon an author to express himself on at least two levels, on the level of the ordinary believer and on the level of the more sophisticated believer, when discussing important religious ideas, since the author has at least two audiences, both of whom deserve an argument. The problem is that they cannot be presented with the same argument. There is a good deal of controversy over the relationship which the two arguments have to each other. Maimonides might have been presenting the ordinary believer with an argument which is incompatible with the more sophisticated believer's argument, since it is not possible to bring religious and philosophical arguments any closer. That is, Maimonides' main aim could have been to placate the ordinary believer, so he writes in such a way that he is confirmed in his faith, while the more sophisticated believer understands what is wrong with the ordinary believer's argument and turns to its reformulation in a way which fits in with his interest. There is a good argument for this possibility in the apparent incompatibility of religion and Aristotelianism. The incompatibility would imply that Maimonides had to treat the ordinary believer's version of the truth as very much a distant version. Only the philosopher would really be able to understand the truth, and only the account which would satisfy him is worth having from an epistemological point of view. On the other hand, Maimonides might have been suggesting that both the ordinary and the more sophisticated believer have access to the truth, but their routes are different. They get to the same place in the end, albeit along different paths. This is a feasible view if one thinks that it is possible to reconcile religion with philosophy. One might think that if this is really Maimonides' view, then he would have no qualms about frankly acknowledging it. But what worried Maimonides is that the faith of the ordinary believer would be threatened by his attempt at grasping the philosophical explanation. This might seem rather condescending. Does it not imply that the less intelligent have to be satisfied with more basic and figurative descriptions of the truth? It does, yet it need not be regarded as condescending. The ordinary believer may just not have the time to consider more complex issues, nor the inclination to do so. The formulation of his faith in the scriptures and the practices of his religion may be entirely satisfactory to his personal relationship with God. If he tries to understand the philosophical explanation and fails to do so entirely, he may feel that his simple faith has been threatened and come to abandon his religion. Also, he may come to suspect the value of philosophy. Since if he continues to adhere to his religion, there must be something wrong with the arguments of the philosophers who appear to wish to threaten that religion. It would be far better, Maimonides suggests, for such a believer to stick with the formulation of religion, which is in accordance with his attitudes and abilities. It is only the individual who is genuinely bothered by philosophical issues and who has the capacity to do philosophical work who needs to be addressed philosophically. There is a good reason to think Maimonides was careful in his formulation of his argument because he did not wish to interfere with the beliefs of the ordinary member of the community, not because he thought that those beliefs were incompatible with philosophy. This view has the advantage that it is actually in accordance with what he says, and there is a good deal of evidence in his arguments that he thought, like most of his medieval colleagues, that philosophy and religion are different routes to the same end. Had he thought that they were really two entirely different approaches which yielded completely different answers, then it would have been difficult for him to have continued with his role in the Jewish community as a leader and spiritual authority. It must be admitted, though, that many commentators take the opposite view and regard Maimonides' language as hinting at the total incompatibility between religion and philosophy, an incompatibility which he wishes to keep quiet for prudential reasons. It would be remarkable if he had such a view, given the tradition in both Islamic and Jewish philosophy of writing in much the same way as he wrote and maintaining the compatibility between these two approaches. What is certainly true is that he derived some very unusual conclusions from his arguments, unusual in the sense that they imply that changes are necessary in our understanding of basic religious concepts. That is, if arguments are correct, it will be necessary to look anew at the way in which religion is interpreted. Some of his conclusions are difficult to reconcile with traditional religion, and this has led some commentators to argue that they are irreconcilable. Yet, there is no reason to accept such a strong conclusion. Like so many of his predecessors, Maimonides is establishing an interpretation of important religious concepts which obliges us to think carefully about what we mean by them when we use them, because the ordinary religious use is based on the interpretation which can be limiting and misleading. What is needed is a new and improved understanding of those concepts, one which gives a better indication of their real meaning, and only if we have such an understanding can we be said to use them in their fullest sense. Only then can we really understand what it means to have the corresponding religious experiences, since these have a wider reference than ordinary believers may normally acknowledge. Maimonides was not setting out in his work to criticize religion, but rather to raise it to a new level of intellectual awareness which would do justice to its complexity. Maimonides provides a complex and intriguing account of evil, which was very much part of the continuing debate in both the Islamic and Jewish philosophical world. He seems to be of the view that one source of evil in the world is due to the composition of things out of matter. Matter is irretrievably limited in its capacity to be perfected. Although the species itself may be perfect, the individuals which constitute the material exemplars of the species display varying success in achieving perfection, and some are inevitably rather far from perfect and so able to endure the vagaries of natural forces which lead to suffering. Of course, the fact that certain individuals are able to experience evil does not necessarily lead to the conclusion that they will experience evil, but Maimonides operates with a metaphysical principle which closes this gap. He employs the principle of plenitude, so popular among the Phalasifa, according to which every possibility, if it is a genuine possibility, must at some time be instantiated. So if matter is a source of deficiency, and if some instances of a species are material, then those material things will occasionally be deficient. This is hardly a new idea, and Maimonides quotes Galen as being amazed by the view that we could be creatures which emerge out of menstrual blood and sperm, and yet avoid pain and suffering. This might work as a rhetorical device, but on closer examination it seems a rather poor argument. Why should not an omnipotent deity create perfect creatures which are generated in what might be regarded as rather sordid ways, yet which nonetheless are insusceptible to pain and suffering afterwards? Here we would have to say that God could have created perfect creatures had he wished to, or indeed no creatures at all. The point of creating creatures which inevitably experience pain for at least some of their lives is to give the possibility of transforming their situation by the use of their own intellect and will, and thereby increasing as a result of their own efforts in their individual perfection. We have seen how there has been much discussion in the past of the educative function of suffering, and Maimonides might well appeal to that point here in defending the apparent willingness of the deity to contemplate working with deficient material. Maimonides makes rather similar points when he considers what is involved in the gradual eradication of idolatrous practices from the Jewish people through the imposition of contrary yet in some ways similar practices. God could, when he led the Jews out of Egypt, have transformed them immediately into the sort of people he wanted them to become. Then they could have spent less time in the desert preparing for the entry into Israel, an entry which could only be accomplished once the appropriate culture and religious transformation had taken place. Yet, in the difficult and challenging task of transformation lies the ability of individuals to take responsibility for their own characters and relationships, and this leads, so it might be argued, to a more interesting and valuable form of existence than that which would be available through immediate and perfect divine intervention. So one sort of evil which affects us is due to our material constitution. Two other kinds are much more under our control. There are evils which result from political events such as war and ill government, and these ultimately are to be blamed upon the selfish and inaccurate judgments of people. Then there is the related form of evil which we quite readily impose upon ourselves through our greedy and inappropriate attitude to the world and its resources. The world is structured in such a way that we can easily satisfy our natural requirements in it if we are moderate in our demands and limit ourselves to those requirements. As Maimonides wittily suggests, the more a thing is necessary for a living being, the more often it may be found and the cheaper it is. On the other hand, the less necessary it is, the less often it is found and is very expensive. As a result of our greed for both material possessions and high reputation, we constantly come into conflict with others and pervert the natural ability of the world to treat us all equally. Although Maimonides distinguishes this form of evil from arising through political association, there is clearly a connection here, since an institution of different prices on goods, which becomes scarce and highly valued, is only possible within a particular institutional and hence political framework. He makes an important and useful contrast here between the wants and needs which human beings acknowledge. As a result of our imagination, we think we need a whole variety of things which often we want only because other people want them. Were we to use our intellect, our rational capacity more fully, we would appreciate that many of our wants bear little relationship to our needs, and would as a consequence forego the struggle with others for those illusory and inessential goods. When Maimonides becomes more explicit on the role of providence in the world, we shall see that a constant theme in the evil resulting from the subjection of the intellect can be by the imagination. Clearly, the exact relationship between God and the world is going to be important if we are to form an accurate view of the nature of evil in a world created by a God. Maimonides distinguishes between 5 different views here. The first he credits to Epicurus, entirely wrongly, and has everything in the world occurring as a result of chance. The contrary view is taken to belong to Aristotle and identifies divine providence with natural law. The scope of providence is limited, though, to the level of the spheres and the species. The individuals which are part of the species escape from the general forces of providence. The third view is that of the Asherites, which interprets the universe and everything in it, however small in size and importance, as existing and changing solely due to the influence of divine providence. Furthermore, the deity is not in any way limited in his actions vis-a-vis the world by external standards of right and wrong. He sets the standards himself through what he does and what he wishes to do. The fourth view is attributed to the Mu'tazilites and has the world directed by God with wisdom and justice, with undeserved suffering in this world compensated by God in the next. A notion of justice exists which is independent of the notion of God, although God is careful to employ it in his government of the world. The fifth view seems at first to be the view acceptable to Judaism on Maimonides' account. It is the view that human beings have freedom to act as they wish, and the consequences of their actions reflect their moral worth. Yet Maimonides seems to identify himself most closely with what he takes the Aristotelian view to be, arguing that divine providence is limited in its scope to the heavenly spheres and species, with the individuals falling under these influential bodies and universal groups being governed by chance. The only exception here is the case of human beings, and then only some human beings were able to key into high levels of abstract thought. When human beings are able to perfect their thinking and link up with the divine overflow, they come close to being identical to the species of human being itself. And since providence is concerned with the species rather than the individual, such human beings are able to live in a way which is governed by providence. Maimonides extends this theory a little when he asserts that providence applies to us in proportion to our ability to think abstractly. And even if we are as perfect as human beings can be in the development of our abstract powers, providence only guides us while we are employing those powers. When we do something else, providence deserts us. This might seem a bit unfair on the intellectually unsophisticated member of the community who nonetheless carries out his or her religious duties scrupulously and obeys the law. It looks as though providence is uninterested in these people, yet they are precisely the sort of people whom one might have expected providence to support. To a certain extent, this criticism is misguided, since it is based upon the idea of God as an omnipotent and omniscient ruler who is interested in the individual fate of his creatures. This is not Maimonides' view of God at all. The more we think of God as someone just like us, but more powerful and knowledgeable, the more we go astray. God is radically dissimilar from us. And when we come to wonder what role providence plays in our individual lives, we must free ourselves from the model of servants and master. Virtuous people cannot expect to be rewarded in the way that valuable servants might tend to expect to be rewarded. Hence, the rather brisk attitude which Maimonides adopts, as well as we shall see, to Job and his complaints. Yet, the simple believer might still wonder why providence is to be reserved for the intellectually gifted. After all, it is not the fault of the simple believer that he or she is a simple believer. In some ways, this state of affairs might be laid directly at the door of God. He has made people differently, and their differences should not, one might think, lay them open to different levels of reward and punishment if they have no control over them. One of the features of an acceptable faith might be said to be the ability to include within it a whole gamut of levels of intellect and interest, excluding no one who is prepared to accept the main principles of the faith. There should be routes for everyone to God, and all routes should be equally accessible, insofar as rewards and punishment are concerned. It might be argued that even the simple believer is able to tune into the active intellect through the perfection of his religious practice, which brings him as close as he can get to a rational grasp of the principles underlying his belief. He has the same understanding of religion as his more intellectual adept peers, although the former's understanding takes on a different appearance from that of the latter. For example, through belief in an afterlife, he grasps the wider significance of his actions, but finds this easier to understand if formulated in terms of his continuing in some sort of existence after death. The more sophisticated believer knows what difficulties attend such a view of the afterlife, and she can view the future state in an intellectually more respectable manner that can be the simple believer. But to a degree, they both understand the same point, and both can participate in the same divine overflow with its corresponding providence. The inequality between the simple and the sophisticated believer becomes more evident on death. Since the latter have perfected themselves as far as they could, there is no need to regard their death as an end of their lives as thinkers. They have passed away into the realm of abstract intellectual thought, and death is nothing more than the sudden absence of the material body around which the thinking takes place. In some ways, death is to be welcomed, since it increases the ability for intellectual thought to continue without the potential for confusion by the body and its tendency to choose imagination rather than intellect. What happens at death in the case of perfect human beings in that contact takes place between the material and the active intellect. So that thinking things become part of the object of thought. It is important to point out what remains is an entirely impersonal kind of immorality, since all that survives death are the thoughts, not the thinker. Not just any thoughts, but only thoughts which are abstract and capable of functioning without participation by our physical constitution. My memory of what I had for breakfast has no future after my death, but my memory of Pythagoras' theorem will survive me, but not as my memory. Individuals whose lives have been dominated by thoughts of breakfast and who were uninterested in mathematics and similar intellectual activities will completely disappear with their bodies. But those who did manage to think abstractly will have the consolation that those thoughts will survive them, albeit not as their thoughts. Insofar as Providence watches over those abstract thinkers, it watches over the thoughts rather than the bearers of the thoughts, and the only reward which the latter can look forward to is the pleasure in having the thoughts themselves. This is where Job goes wrong. He thinks because he has been virtuous, he deserves good things to happen to him. Yet Maimonides points out that Job is only described as righteous and not as wise. He is a simple believer, and Job was unable to appreciate due to his simplicity that the events in the world affecting individuals are purely natural events which take place without any divine intervention or moral balance. People just do lose their wealth and children. They just do fall ill and even perish. They just do suffer extreme reverses of fortune. Job naively expects God to act like a wise and kind parent, rewarding and punishing his creatures in accordance with their deserts. Maimonides insists throughout that we must not regard God in this way. He holds to the view that only the intellect is really significant, since only the intellect presents a route for human perfection. And Job mistakenly thought that material and familial positions are important and are to be regretted when they are lost. This turn in the argument might well seem highly unconvincing. There is something to be said for the idea that one might lose great wealth and be consoled since one was still able to think rationally about abstract topics, and such thinking represents the most important part of us as human beings. In some ways, wealth might even be seen as an obstacle to intellectual work, since it might distract one from pursuing such work. Yet the full complement of troubles which beset Job would seem to make even limited abstract thought unlikely. Maimonides himself goes on in the Guide to argue that one requires a reasonable level of health, wealth, and general material contentment for intellectual work to be possible in the first place. There has to be some sort of balance between satisfying our material, social needs, and being able to engage in intellectual work. In the case of Job, poor, ill, grief-stricken, and putting up with the dubious advice of his friends, this balance seems unavailable. Were Job able to ignore his present discontents through he might impress Maimonides, but probably not. Shrug off his troubles and get on with some serious thinking. I'm gonna pause because. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kotover's YouTube. This chapter of Maimonides is actually really long. It goes on for another. Hello, pardon, Will. I don't know if this, if Kotover left, but I found a book and I was reading from it. That's what I was doing.
Yeah, I'm here. I recorded it. I mean, you made my dream come true. I finally found a girl to read Maimonides to me. I'm crying over here. My life is complete.
Well, now you can be nice to people in Clubhouse and stop being so mean. How about that? I mean, it's a long chapter. I actually never read this book. It was one of my classes, but I never actually read it.
Go figure. Maybe you wouldn't support terrorists if you fucking read Maimonides.
Okay, this is a book not by Maimonides, by Oliver Leaman.
I know. It's about Maimonides. It's not Maimonides. I know.
Yeah, but the thing is, what was interesting to me is, again, I've never read this book ever. What was interesting to me is that there was a lot of references to, when they were listing the 5 reasons, they listed 2 Islamic theologies.
Mm-hmm.
One was the Ash'ari, and the other was Mu'tazilites or Mu'tazila.
Yeah, the genius.
So there's a lot of it. There's a lot of influence, Islamic influence on Jewish.
It's not Islamic influence. It's Arab influence. Islam has nothing to do with this bullshit. It's science. The Arabs created arithmetic. They created the logarithm. The Romans called the Persian mathematic genius a logarithm. That was his name.
Okay, so you know that the reason why mathematics was something very specific that the Muslims focused on was because of the verse in the Quran that talks about inheritance. This is where, there are verses in the Quran that are very detailed when it comes to inheritance. So they created an entire science because of these verses relating to inheritance.
Great. It's called. I get it. I get it.
I'm serious. And you said it's the Arab, not the Muslim. No, it doesn't matter what their background was.
Anyways, I just want to say that this is the first time you've ever used Clown House like a rational person, as opposed to a platformer or a content creator about Jew hate. Mazel tov.
I mean, we can continue reading it. It's no problem. Until, this is, let me see.
This is your therapy work. You do what you need to do. I mean, I wouldn't care if a fucking rocket fell into your roof and took you out, you know? You might as well try to educate yourself on this app instead of hanging out with neo-Nazis all day, 40 hours a week, fat ass.
You will never change.
Welcome to Drill Sergeant School. You think you're tough? You think you know what you're even talking about half the time on this app? 40 hours a week, fat ass? This is the first time you read a book on this fucking app, fat ass.
I actually read on this app all the time. I read the Quran and the Bible. What are you talking about?
Yeah, whatever.
Go to the gym and vote Trump, fatty.
That's it. Go to the gym and vote Trump, fatty.
That might be my favorite slogan I've heard all year.
He goes to the gym and he leaves his YouTube live on. It's pretty sad.
Well, see, I say what I want to do myself. I believe in projection, and I know I project all the time on this app, but, people cannot... I don't know, they just project and then they have no hindsight about what they're projecting about, and so there's no awareness. It's like people aren't alive. There's no genie in that bottle. There's no ghost in their machine. They're just like automaton NPCs. They don't know what they're doing on this app. They're supporting stupidity.
Pardon, your thoughts with Kitover?
He's right. He's 100% right.
I don't want you to go.
100% right. Let that soak in, Princessia. Think about that. Just think about that.
I didn't hear what you were saying. Something about you project and you acknowledge that you project. That makes sense.
So the real question is, do I get Colombian rotisserie tonight, or do I get Italian, what's that dish called? Chicken Vesuvio. Trying to decide where to go for dinner.
Do you know Kitover, who the person that's like the best to you on this app of everybody you interact with?
Me, myself, and I?
No. Diego. He treats you the best of everybody you interact with.
I could care less what that. I could care less what that neo-Nazi fatty does.
Despite everything you say to him, he treats you the best.
Could care less. I go to 5 other rooms. It's the same treatment. There's no respect at all. He's a neo-Nazi and he's an idiot. He's got dandruff and he's fat. He's got a wife and kid. He's coming on here 40 hours a week creating Jew hate rooms. He's a fucking loser. Fucking loser.
So, Martin, why did you say hold on? And you're wrong. Stop defaming him. Go on.
I'm just saying, I treat Edmund with quite a bit of respect. So.
But you don't really talk.
You're right, I don't. But that's how I treat him with respect. Shut up.
No respect at all.
You don't talk. You don't kick him out of rooms. Diego doesn't kick him. He just moves him to the audience. He lets him do what he wants to.
That's because he likes the circus.
But all you say Kitover is mean stuff and untrue things. You need to stop.
Are you kidding me? The guy's got dandruff. He's got dandruff. He's fat. He's got a dad bod. He's got 2 kids, 40 hours a week, neo-Nazi hate rooms. You fucking loser. I never met a loser like that. His parents didn't raise him to be like that. This is a friend saying to some guy he's met, hey, fucking loser, stop being a fucking loser. You're a fucking loser, too. You hang out with that loser. You're a loser. 40 hours a week sitting in your bed talking Jew hate, fatty.
The thing that makes Edmund different than everybody else is he's not bringing any substance to the content that's on this app outside of flavor itself. The content itself is the means to an end. It's not whether or not what he says is mean or it's nice or it's insightful or it's dumb. It's the fact that he's saying something that is flavorful.
But it's you think that what he's saying is flavorful?
Absolutely. It's totally.
It's like eating the most disgusting spoiled milk with salt mixed in it, and you have no choice but to spit it out because you cannot consume it.
No, that's not how I see it. So the thing about let's use music. So the thing that makes music as powerful is the space in between, the noise and the silence. And Edmund's just the silence. And not saying he's silent, just whatever's being said, he brings in a whole another opposite view. It doesn't mean he believes any of it, but he does bring it in. So it adds some up and down.
He needs to pick on yourself and stuff.
He's not picking on anybody. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He's just doing things to change the direction and to put ups and downs in the conversation. That's it. That's all he does.
Do you think you're giving him too much intellectual
No, I don't think it takes much intellect at all. He just takes whatever you're saying and he flips a reverse and then throws in code the Jim Fatty called Trump.
Okay. Got it.
He's content. He's content incarnate. That's what that is. Content incarnate.
But he can't monetize on YouTube. We were trying to help him.
That's the only downside. He doesn't know what help looks like.
Is Edmund?
So I mean, I could stop doing what I'm doing. I have thousands of videos that if every day I were to just actually edit, title, keyword 100 videos as opposed to creating new content. I feel like there's a good time to do that, but the time is not now. I think recording people on Clown House, I've been
Maybe
forcing.
65?
No, I think when I can rebrand all this and push, and just let it go and leave it out there, but like no longer do what I'm doing. And the thing is, I don't want my legal name attached to it. So like I have to clean some things up, but eventually I will walk away from Clown House and I will no longer actually use the app nor record any Clown House content. Because see what you guys don't.
I think Clubhouse will end before you get off of Clubhouse.
Well, that's a prediction, but my hypothesis is we are going into just based on the finance, and you can degrade the currency as much as you want to where milk is now $6 minimum. Like I don't know, we have to be going into some type of economic tailspin. Something like or a black swan event. I think there's got to be a nuclear pop off at some point. So like I know you're young, but this is a real war since 9/11. America, has the guns. They've got the weapons.
Did you know I was 15? Do they know on YouTube you're talking to 15-year-olds?
I don't talk to 15-year-olds on the internet.
I'm 15 and you're talking to me.
You're 15?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe like 20 years ago, fat ass.
So dumb. I'm Muslim, so I got married when I was like 5, so it makes sense.
You're Muslim? I didn't know Muslims, which are good Muslims, come and create Jew hate rooms 40 hours a week. I didn't know that's what a good Muslim does.
When have I ever created a Jew hatred room, even though it would be warranted? But when have I ever created one?
40 hours a week, your fat ass is on this app with neo-Nazis, you fat ass.
We're actually in the rooms with Jews.
Whatever, fat ass. Go get a husband, get a job, build something, be happy.
Goodness,
I don't know.
I have a husband. He's in heaven.
Yeah, I know a girl at the strip club. She's got a husband too. He's made out of dollars. I don't know. Get a life, fat ass.
I feel like I have a life. Like here I am, like engaging with ghosts on the internet, doing my laundry. What's wrong with that?
I mean, listen. Did you even go to the gym today?
Just because you're used to like being around.
Excuse me, Jew hate fat ass. Did you even go to the gym today, fat ass? No. No, I know you didn't because you were on this app all fucking day, fat ass.
What makes you think that people can't be on the app and doing other things?
Whatever, fat ass. Danny's here. Fucking talk to some other normal chick, not some Jew hate fat ass. What up, Danny? Welcome to OnlyFanvid.com. We're here with the world famous.
We're trying to help him with his psychiatric issues to normalize him a little bit, so that he could be an asset to society rather than a burden. This is an intervention room for John Kickover.
You can intervene your own Jew hate and your own support for terrorists and murderers all you want, you stupid dingbat. Welcome to the room, Danny. I don't know if you want to say anything, but I'm in.
The first step is learning how to clean up your language. Okay, you shouldn't speak with bad words.
Whatever, fat ass. Go get. You need a beard trimmer. Go trim your disgusting brick jaw, fatty.
Why are you? You're so.
Shut up, fatty. Go trim your eyebrows. Go trim your eyebrows.
My eyebrows look incredible. What are you talking about? They look incredible.
You're disgusting. Hi, Danny. Welcome to the room.
What do you mean? I have incredible eyebrows.
Whatever. You're trans. You're a trans 15-year-old boy. Okay, Danny. Welcome to the room.
Yeah. This is the gorgeous Middle Eastern eyebrows.
Thank you. I mean, people literally draw in their eyebrows to make them look like eyebrows like I have.
I know. I was dating a Colombian and she tattooed her face, her eyebrows, and her eyelids.
I would never do anything like that.
Ugh, I was so angry.
In fact, when I was 18, I used to dye them brown, and they were so thin. But I got over that.
I used to dye my grays in my beard, but man, putting those chemicals on your skin, it's not worth it. I don't know how women, this is why women, they all lose their hair. Beyonce's straight up bald. Jay-Z is married to a bald woman. I mean, your hair just gets destroyed. All that makeup and chemicals and performances, you're a bald woman after just a couple years. Say goodbye to your hair.
I only wear eyeliner and lipstick here, mascara.
I don't know. All that stuff is cancerous. 100%. It's cancerous.
My books keep falling. No, they're not.
It's not? Like, are you serious?
But I think I saw this really cute Syrian girl who has like really beautiful eyelashes and just looks really beautiful. And I hope she never like touches like any eyeliner or makeup or anything.
Yeah, sometimes you meet girls who have like amazing eyebrows and you're like, that's all real, huh? And they're like, it's all real. You're like, wow. It's like a
I'm not even talking
butterfly.
about eyebrows, I'm talking about eyelashes.
Eyelashes.
Like, I had a lot of eyelashes as a kid.
You know, what's it called when people pull their hair out? Trichinosis? It's like a psychological state of mind where people like continually
Yeah,
pull their hair
something
out.
like that. One of them's an STD and the other one's like a psychological condition, you know? But really it's just batshit crazy.
Is the STD the exact same name?
You know, there's a homeless woman who lives down the street from my house here in Chicago, and she lives in the park, and she's got all these plastic bags. And last night I went for a power walk, and I felt so sad and so bad for her because she's like in the shadow, in the dark, in the middle of the park, just swinging her plastic bag around, just like swinging it around. And then I look at her, and then I keep power walking, and then she starts doing it again. So like she's trying to get people's attention, you know, and she's totally schizophrenic. She just sits there and mumbles to herself.
What makes you think she's schizophrenic?
She's homeless and she mumbles to herself. I don't know where she shits. I don't know where she drinks water. Like how she's even alive is a miracle. Like I don't know what, you know, like if you were to really follow somebody around, you could realize like, oh, this person is, you know, fine. But like my point.
Why aren't you helping her?
Well, I could probably Monday morning tomorrow. I could probably call like social services and try to get a social services agent to
Why?
like.
So that they can like institutionalize her? How's that helping?
No,
She's more free outside.
no, because if they can establish that she has like case history, then like you know, and if she doesn't have case history, then they could try to put her in a shelter before the winter comes. But either way, she's totally whacked, so whacked. It's like it's a shame.
Don't you have a room? Don't you have a room with an Israeli flag? Like, don't you just you have one room with an American flag, another one with an Israeli flag?
No,
Invite her in one of those rooms.
Well, that's my point. Is I'm never gonna invite her into my house. I'm gonna try to get her into a shelter. But my point is like why we let that persist is a shame. Like it does take people in the community to say, okay, well, I guess I gotta fucking be the problem, you know. And I've done that. And my top videos on YouTube are of homeless people. So the algorithm does like showing society blight because it does trigger dopamine feedback loop, and there's a stickiness to homeless videos. Anyways, it's you know there's a lot of nonprofits online that do a lot of stuff with homeless people, but YouTube does reward homeless activism.
I think we need to help you monetize. Have you talked to Hampton yet?
I have. He's only interested in the Zeus network, baby.
First of all, don't call me that word. Second of all,
Baby?
why don't you just do what he does? Why don't you do what he does?
Okay, darling, I'll do what he does. Whatever you say.
My name is Nora.
Whatever, Nora.
Princess, yeah.
Whatever, Mark. Nice chin. Go get a trimmer.
I don't know where you're getting this like delusion about my like.
Get a weed whacker and cut those eyebrows down. Are you Paleolithic or monolithic?
They actually look thinner in this photo. They're pretty.
I just saw a Geico commercial with the caveman.
Not being an asshole, do you not see that me and her have the same eyebrows?
Yeah, you girls should apply for the Geico commercials with the cavemen. You can play the cave woman
Let me
wives.
see your eyebrows.
No makeup needed. You'll fit right in with the cavemen.
No, your eyebrows are different than mine. Yours are finer. They're like fuller, but like mine are a little bit like thicker. But yours you have like fuller and finer. They're not as coarse as mine or as dark. They look nice.
Nora, you look like you have a 3 o'clock shadow. Okay, 5 o'clock shadow. You do. You look like you have a 6 o'clock shadow. I mean, you got to shave that
Oh my
face.
gosh! I would never put a razor on my face.
Do you wax? Do you do the European wax?
Oh my gosh!
That's a yes. Ha! Such
Crazy.
a Muslima.
What is a European wax?
It's a Brazilian bikini wax. They do your ass crack and your pussy.
No. Ew.
What do you mean, ill? You're a hairy ass monster. Look at your face.
Learn how to speak to like the opposite sex.
Whatever, lady. You're on a social audio online public debate forum. You know, go trim your face and, you know, sculpt that chin
Oh my
line.
gosh. At least you're like over your obsession with me, so if that
Obsession? You're a Jew-hating terrorist, you stupid
means-
dingbat.
I don't know, bro. You've been really obsessed. It's been crazy, so I'm glad that you've moved on.
Listen, like Pardon Will said, I'm here content farming. If you haven't figured that out yet, you're really stupid.
But you don't get anything.
Oh, not yet, but I have thousands of videos. It's only a matter of time before I relabel them, and I spend time marketing them. I can build my YouTube account. I can buy followers. I can advertise the account, schmucko. You have nothing.
I think I will monetize before you monetize.
Whatever, stupid. If I want to spend more time, I can do it.
Didn't we say the first step is like not speaking this way? Stupid this.
Listen, I insult Jew-hating terrorists. That's what I do. I fight online Jew-hating terrorists like you fucking Muslim Arab prostitute. You terrorist.
You know what? Be nice.
What are you going to do about it, Nora? What are you going to do about it? Report me. And I reported everyone over the past couple days, you pieces of shit. I've reported everyone. I've screenshotted you all. I've reported you all, you neo-Nazi scum. You Jew-hating terrorist pieces of shit. I've reported you all. I hope you guys get deleted, and you pieces of shit have to spend time creating new accounts, you pieces of shit.
Listen, Kitover, I know you're a little bit acting right now, but I am concerned because I think your acting becomes your reality. And your brain disassociates. I'm serious.
Whatever, neo-Nazi lover, Jew-hater, fuck you. Go, like I said, take that brick chin of yours and your trans face and your go do something with your life instead of platforming Jew hate and spending 40 hours a week with neo-Nazis, you fucking stupid idiot.
Tell us how many trans have you been with this week? Because I feel like the numbers.
You're the only trans lookalike I've seen all week, okay, tranny?
No, really. I really think that you slept with trans this week. This is why the obsession with trans is in your head.
Whatever, Nora.
I can sense it. It's like so easy to sense.
How did you know? Oh my god, because I gotta say, I went out on a date on how did you know this? You're like psychic. I was on Bumble, okay, and I met this girl named Tina. And Tina ended up being Tom, but I didn't know until we got to the pizza parlor, and I said, Tina, what's your real name? He's like Tom. And I'm like, Tina. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm not into trans, and I didn't know you were trans. Your profile didn't say you were trans. It said you were a woman, and I expect everybody to be honest with their gender. So I'm sorry, Tom. I can't have pizza with you.
It all makes sense. But I do remember this like very sweet girl. One time we were in the bathroom at some place, and she was like, "You're the most feminine girl I've ever seen." So your insults don't really work on me, Mr. Kitover.
You're the most feminine girl I've ever seen.
Yeah, I know.
Was it a trans guy telling you that?
No, it's a beautiful girl that went on to be a lawyer.
Oh, this is you projecting again. I see.
Did I go on to be a lawyer?
Yeah, you couldn't be a lawyer. You can barely even read a book about Maimonides, you idiot. You're like a third grader. My fucking kid, he's third grade. He can read better than you.
I did a good job reading that.
Did a good job. You read at the 7th grade level, you fucking child.
How? When I have like
Words per minute, diction. You can barely even pronunciate words. You're an idiot. You read it like 6 words a minute.
Really?
You spend 40 hours a week with neo-Nazis in Jew-hate rooms. You support Muslim Islamic terrorism. You're an idiot. An idiot. An idiot.
I had to read it at a more projected voice for you. Like I felt like I was reading to a retard, so I was like projecting.
Okay, I almost spit out my beer when you said that. I was like, don't spit your beer out. Don't spit your beer out. Don't laugh. Don't laugh.
Like, this is a retard. I have to read louder and enunciate and like do this. Yeah, what's up, Danny?
You know that he's streaming you in another room as like Alex Soros, I think?
Yeah, he streams everywhere. Like, I'm doing this for content for him. I'm gonna use his own content and like what's the word I'm looking for?
She was the first person in a long time I think that has ever read content. And I'm constantly like, anybody read a book? Anybody. Anything other than this.
What do you mean? the gentleman, Dapper Diego, reads books all the time. What are you talking about?
But you
Well,
guys,
you know what?
you guys really
I
read
don't
terrible
read
stuff.
books, but I read like pages online, and I feel like I'm really good at creating content.
Nice. You should work with this guy, but he might, I don't know, he might be dangerous.
Well, I have recorded 20 videos over the past 2 days. For one day, I read Aleister Crowley. The second day, I read Marcus Aurelius. And those are 60-second clips, and they've generated thousands of views. But
Okay, put a link so we can see how many views that you have.
just go to
Like
only.
my unintentional YouTube videos that I just posted just because I was posting them with no intention has probably more views than your views. Your
Well,
videos.
anyways, go to
Like,
only.
my videos of my dad probably have more views than your views.
Great, your dad's feet
questions.
smell like shit. What's your point?
Who is Lamb?
Lamb? What do you mean? Like Islam?
Danny, can you beat up this Jew? Because you're a Jew. Because they won't call me an
Danny is married. She's got a kid. She's a normal person. What are you? You're a Jew-hating neo-Nazi. You're a neo-Nazi, Arab neo-Nazi bride.
Listen, I'm gonna
Hairy like a monkey.
Allah yuflik.
Islam, Allah, Allahu Akbar, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah. Allahu Akbar, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Yeah, I can do it. I've been imitating that for years. Trolling Muslim terrorists like you for years, you schmuck.
I'm just trying to keep this room going until Diego comes back. Thank you for the distraction.
Oh, if he comes back, you think he'll actually care? He's a neo-Nazi Jew-hate loser like you. You guys don't even know priorities. You know nothing. You guys are like semi-retarded. You're worse than Ashkenazic with fucking Down syndrome. You could barely read a book today. It took all your willpower to even... You didn't even know what you read. You just read shit. You had no comprehension of what you even read.
I actually re-explained it to you, and you didn't even realize how many citations of Muslims and Islamic philosophy was in there. Like,
Okay, tell me one thing that you learned about your reading. I bet you didn't learn anything.
I just told you, I was influenced by the Ash'ari.
Okay, tell me a second thing you learned. What else did you learn about Maimonides?
I told you that he was influenced by the Ash'aris and the Mu'tazila, and that many people think that Maimonides, for some reason, was speaking cryptically, and that he had a concern that the ordinary dummy like you wouldn't like.
Dummy like me. Your face looks like you're from the year 3600 BC. You look like a Neolithic, Paleolithic trans, you ugly prostitute.
Oh my goodness. Like somebody like you would like their faith would be questioned, so he didn't want anything to like make you doubt your faiths. But there was different kind of theses that they spoke about in relation to Maimonides. About the believer versus like the simple believer versus the sophisticated believer. That the sophisticated believer wants to reconcile religion and philosophy, whereas the simple believer doesn't really care about philosophy. But reality just doesn't intervene. It was different. It was very layered. So I could write a paper about it, but I'm not. I don't need to. I probably just BS'd the paper during that semester without ever reading the book. Sure. What are you doing, Danny? Oh my gosh. But part of what you came in when he was talking, when the author was talking about Job, they were kind of like saying that Maimonides was like putting down Job as like this person that didn't really understand God. What are your thoughts about Job? Like, how do you see Job?
Yeah, I understand Maimonides' point to it, but I try not to think of it that they were just trying to put him down. Because there's like a type A and a type B kind of a person, especially when it comes to intellectuals. They always think there's only one side to see something. And I think that's where intellectuals go wrong. Because Job's insight didn't so much come that he was smart and he was blaming all of his issues on God. But what he was trying to do is figure out what priorities were. And so it didn't really need so much philosophy as it did need, I think, evaluation of where his place was in the universe. And not so much trying to figure out who God is and why would God do something like this, and should I worry about my material realm, and can I think abstractly about it? I don't think Job needed to think abstractly about it because he was in number one, he was in no position to do so. It's hard to think about philosophy when you're covered in boils. And so I don't think he was being harsh on him. I think he was just pointing out, had Job been an intellectual.
Oh my God, Pardon, you don't get it. Pardon, you don't get it, dude. You don't see it, do you? You don't know.
I listened to the last 3 minutes. I'm just assuming of what that was talking about.
No.
When you came in, it started talking about Job.
Princessia doesn't get it either because she's an idiot. She's a Neolithic, Paleolithic, anyways. She needs to learn how to sing the dop key. Pardon. So Alan Watts, do you know who Alan Watts is? He did this seminar. It's on YouTube. It's called On Being God, where he pretends he's God and he lets the audience ask him questions. And so an audience member says, I don't know what the setup is, but basically it's like, is Job God, or what about Job? And he says, well, Job didn't know that he was God. So what that means is that every human is God in drag, just like Princessia. So look at Princessia's giant chin and face, Paleolithic trans man face, and know that she's like the Kwisatz Haderach. You see what I'm saying? She's got the Holy Spirit. She's a trans man, just like Job, just like Jesus, just like Moshe Rabbeinu. Anyone that's got the power of the Holy Spirit is a tranny like Princessia. You see how this works, Pardon Will? Thanks, Pardon Will. Again, you agreed with me 100% earlier. I'm just wondering, do you still agree with me 100%?
Before you answer, Pardon Will, before you answer, I just want to tell your YouTube audience, Kitover, that girls get surgery to have like clean chin and jaw. Thank you. But go on, Pardon Will.
Nope, that percentage dropped. But I think I know it. I know Alan Watts, but I don't think he's correct.
Well, okay, let me ask you this. Do you think...
Don't they go to a satellite?
Yeah, George Soros and Alex Soros, they manipulate the satellites and the election results. Let me ask you...
Satellite so the Earth could heal.
Danny, I got clips of you. Oh, you're so funny. Anyways, yeah, I love your comments, Danny. I've heard you say things in some rooms where I'm just like dying laughing. You'd say some funny stuff. Very funny content.
Like in the mom app, what I said today, they took my mic.
Well, I don't know.
Are we streaming right now?
Oh yeah, we're on like 6 different screens right now.
Oh,
7,
fantastic.
1,
All right, so everybody listening, go to
8,
at
9.
Pardon Will on YouTube. I'll be going live at 8:30 Eastern time, so in about 30 minutes. Go there, or you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Kick or Twitch if you want to check it out. Go there and like and subscribe.
Pardon Will, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. My audience of 0 across 7 different devices. Literally,
yeah,
0.
They'll hear this in 10 years. Like, oh God, I missed it.
So impressive. Like, so impressive to be streaming with no viewers.
So, I'll be honest with you. Adrian Dittman, aka Elon Musk, is the most important thing to be streaming because he hates me and he's blocked me across like 15 different Twitters. And to record Elon Musk and to get into his mind in terms of like your Clown House experience, imagine if Elon was hanging with us every day and we were recording him. That's what it's like when you hang out in his space, because he hangs out with these 2 employees and they're just yes men and everything he says is genius. And he sits there and plays Diablo 4, and then he jumps onto his other phone, and he goes to these Trump things, and he comes back, he's back on his Adrian Dittman. It's amazing to, like, record him real time, because he's, anyways, he is who he is, and, I don't know, my YouTube videos of Adrian Dittman, aka Elon Musk, have gotten thousands of views, and I think they're gold. And I hope tonight that he goes live because I keep missing him. Because he's blocked me so much, I can no longer just let the algorithm no longer shows me him. So I have to go on certain accounts I have that are not blocked by him, and then I have to search him out to even see that he's live. But if you go to Adrian Dittman, you can literally see Elon Musk's alter ego. Everything he posts, everything he says, he live streams himself. None of it's on record, and it's amazing. Much more interesting than this trans, Palestinian jihadist.
Thank you for the love.
So you read a lot of stuff about Maimonides, but you've never actually read Maimonides to even know what Maimonides, how much of a badass he is and why he's so interesting.
I listened to you Jews enough to get an idea of them.
That's what typical trans say. Chin line like a linebacker. You got a 5 o'clock shadow, baby. You might want to shave that nasty face of yours. Fatty vote Trump.
Goodness. We're gonna put you in the gulag. The real one, not the clubhouse one. Please talk amongst yourselves.
A lot of Jews on this app hate me, and they may think I'm like a derelict piece of shit, but I, for not a second, have not just verbally crushed these Islamic jihadist terrorist pieces of shit and these neo-Nazi scums, and I've recorded you, and I have doxed you, and I have yellow canaried you, and by God, Hashem and Moshe Rabbeinu will bring the cudgel of justice and smash you all into oblivion.
Please call 1-800-MO-SSAD.
Call 1-800-GAMBLING if you have a problem. There's this McDonald's by my house, and they have by the bus stop, they have this 1-800-GAMBLING, do you have a problem? And it's this young girl betting on Fanbase, or not Fanbase, DraftKings, and I'm like, I don't understand. Do they think young girls have an online betting problem, or are they attracting men who have an online gambling problem to a woman who doesn't have an online gambling problem? But yeah, gambling is a big thing, man. I mean, the casino near my house is the largest grossing casino in the state of Illinois, and it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation that trades on the NASDAQ, and people love gambling, and it's Clown House is free. This is a free video game where you can LARP, any identity you want. For example, Christy, a Jewish guy who pretends he's an Australian, blonde bitch from down under. Princessia, a trans-Palestinian, Geico caveman looking woman. Princessia. Wait, let me get the Geico caveman. Hold on a second, and then we'll really LARP this up. I'll show you what I'm talking about exactly. Geico caveman. I just saw him again today. Every time I see these caveman commercials, I can't stop laughing. Let me show you what you look like, Nora. Oh God, this guy's so ugly. He's so famous though. What's the best one? Yeah, this one. This is it. This is the winner, and it's terrible. Oh my God, he's so handsome. This guy is so funny. He's made a whole life out of being a caveman. Can you believe it?
Your Mossad operatives have messed up my phone again. It's so annoying.
My Mossad operatives? I hate when people say, my chiropractor, my doctor, my lawyer, my real estate agent. Ugh. My. That is the worst pronoun. It's like saying they. Only stupid people talk like that. They and my, ich and yach. Like, right. Check it out. PTR. Check it out, Princessia.
The Mossad operative like has my phone.
Check it out, Princessia. I took a screenshot of your photo on the internet. It's now my PTR. Check yourself out.
Oh my goodness. You messed up my phone. You can't even do anything.
I didn't mess up your phone. You messed up your life, dummy.
Mossad operative.
40 hours a week. Hanging out with neo-Nazis and Jew haters. I wonder if your friends or family would respect you if they knew that you're in love with a neo-Nazi. Oh, I bet you they'd love you even more, right? They'd be like, Princessia, how are you spending your time? Weren't you studying? Weren't you in college? I thought you were going somewhere in life. What happened to you? Oh, you fell down a well of clown house hell?
Pardon,
Clubhouse
this is the
hell?
silence of the music? Like, really?
This is it.
You fell down a well of clown house hate, stupidity, ignorance, and neural networking of schmucks, dinner for schmucks with losers, 40 hours a week, married men with children, 40 hours a week talking Jew hate. Ooh, brilliant. Nicely done, Princessia. Your parents must be proud. So proud. So proud. Princessia, you've never even heard philosophy. You're an idiot.
That was my first A in college. Was my philosophy class.
Yeah, if you knew philosophy, you wouldn't be so stupid.
I didn't take anything after that.
I know. You stopped doing anything productive. It's clearly obvious.
If you say so.
If I say so, I observe, I record, and I report accurately. Dispassionately, not objectively. You're an idiot.
So let's go back to the interview we were having of you, John Kitover.
You have the IQ of an ant.
So you denied any diagnosis of mental illness, correct?
Oh, no. I've been thoroughly diagnosed by our government.
Okay, and what are some of these diagnoses?
I don't want to get into the who, what, where, why, when, or how of any diagnoses. That's strictly between myself and my psychiatrist.
Okay. So you said your government. Does that mean that you have been under the care of the government?
Yes, care and employ.
Okay. So during these diagnoses of these mental illnesses, you were under the care of the government. What happened? Tell us.
Again, I don't want to go into the who, what, where, when, why, how. I'd just like to say, vote Trump and go to the gym, you fat, disgusting pigs.
But this is something that your YouTube
Hungry hippo. Allahu Akbar, Bismillah Rahman Rahim, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Shave your face, you got a 5 o'clock shadow, bitch. You got the eyebrows of a monkey. You look like the caveman commercial from Geico. You ugly fatty. Yeah! Jazz hands.
So are you saying that the care that you received under the government for these diagnoses basically made you who you are today?
No. I was manufactured in a laboratory. My name is Jason Bourne. I'm here to warn the world. I'm from the future. A thermonuclear war is about to break out in Moscow. A thermonuclear war is about to break out in Ukraine. We have to do everything we can to save and preserve the human race. Dun 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 dun! Augustus, come on in, quick! Preservation of the human race! Hello? Jazzy! Quick, put Jazzy on a nuclear bomb! Hello?
It's over. We need to help you. Don't like take this lightly what you're doing, because
listen, fat ass, listen. I've been doing this for years.
This is why
you think I have any remorse or guilt or regret about what I'm doing, fat ass? Listen, you fat, disgusting tranny, you terrorist-supporting, stupid moron. You are about to witness things in human history that are so inconceivable, you fat fuck. If you even knew how stupid you were for wasting 40 hours a week.
You made
Oh
us,
my
you made us lose our
God.
audience. We lost our audience.
I know, because this is a show about making fun of you. Apparently they don't like hearing you get roasted anymore. It becomes old. But why do you like hearing yourself get roasted, sir? Beautiful chin line. I love the 5 o'clock shadow on you. Your eyebrows look great. What orangutan tribe are you from?
Oh my God, you're so dumb.
What orangutan tribe are you from? Are you a gorilla?
You know when I
Laser
was
hair
in
removal
college,
does miracles, they say.
Ew. When I was in college, and I was veiled, I used to wear this
Veiled?
really pink place.
She was a veiled woman!
Yes.
A chaste veiled woman!
Listen,
A veiled woman! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
It's one of my regrets. Like, I got approached to do Miss Kentucky by somebody who was affiliated with that. And
Miss Palestina! Miss Palestina Awards!
I should have done Miss Kentucky. I really
Yeah, you could have killed it.
But my mother was like over my dead body, and then my aunt was like, "You're already our Miss Kentucky and our Miss America."
That's nice. That's a nice thing to say.
Yeah, but it's like I shouldn't have listened. They just I can't do it. I could have been.
Okay, listen to this clip.
I'm sharing that giant big brain you have that could genuinely be helpful. It's not because I think you're a terrible person.
Wait, is that Marshall?
You choose to be the lowest form of yourself, and I don't know, man. Like I don't like when people do that. You're so much smarter than
Again, this sounds like a projection and a you problem. Again, this is a projection and a you problem. So I'm my own man. I make my own choices. I live in my own nest. And your opinion of me means very little to me. My opinion of myself means a lot more to me than your disgusting, dirty, little, pathetic opinion. Go knock on some doors, crack addict.
Oh, I love it. Listen to this one.
These days, people just didn't like the rooms being recorded. It's probably being recorded, but but he is a funny man. We got to give him that.
I'm funny at all.
Everything I learned was from Donald Trump. I think I'm very funny, and hold on, Marsha. He was addressing me, Marsha. Hold on, he was addressing me, Marsha.
Gotta have one person.
Yeah, I just walked him. Love him or hate him, he's gonna troll you.
I don't dislike very many people, but I just like Edmund. I like Edmund intensely.
Because he's a fake Republican. I intensely dislike Edmund.
Edmund embodies extreme Jewish sarcasm and his
he's a lazy dude who ran for office on the thought that he didn't.
Days people just didn't like the rooms being recorded.
Anyways, that was a whole session earlier. Ugh, it was so funny. It's called the Dr. Jordan Shaw Show. It's getting no views. It was called Happy Birthday Kamala 4 hours ago. Anyways, I have so many YouTube accounts. It's amazing. And these reels, it's 60-second clips. 60-second clips, which means that you can break your whole life down into 60-second clips. Do a hindsight analysis, and then you'll say, God damn, I've wasted so much time. Because 60 seconds of theatrical performance, everything is a neurolinguistic projection. So these reels on YouTube are very useful for projection and hypnosis, but you have to find really good material. And what you read earlier was, a foray into good material, but that's not the pudding. That's just the proof. You need the pudding.
Pudding sounds
That's
I'm gonna go get some pudding.
Put that pudding in your mouth. All right, this has been a Brincesia Noura. Pro-free Palestine and the genocide and the apartheid and the neo-Zionist colonial settlers. Brincesia. Neolithic, Paleolithic,
Why
Mongoloid.
don't you try to like make your live videos like be not just one long
Live stream?
different. Yeah, why don't you stop it? I was like, okay, did this live stream of this person at this point, and do another live stream so that you can edit them.
I do. I try to keep it to 1 hour now. This one's going on 2 hours, so this is a
And enjoy
special.
your stuff as 12 hours.
No, that's just because I went to sleep. I forgot to turn the camera off.
So people can see you sleeping.
No, I'm not sleeping. It's in my office. Anyways, you should do a YouTube channel, and I guarantee you, if you do what Hampton does, but pick a different category, like you could make it. Like for example, I there's a Spanish newspaper that I pick up at this Colombian restaurant near my house, and I read it on YouTube, and those videos go viral because it's Spanish, and the algorithm is constantly looking for Spanish.
Show us one video that's gone viral. Like, just put it in the chat.
The biggest penis I've ever had sex with. College girl discusses anal sex experiences. That has like, I don't know, 3 million views, 6 million views.
Okay, if you say so. But
It's $1 a day.
my old YouTube account, like somebody told me I won't be able to monetize if I can't access my email. Since I can't access my email, I probably should use one of my other accounts.
Yeah,
correct?
I've heard it all before. Proof is in the pudding.
I mean, I'm just sad.
Like, you being a 12-year-old messing with somebody around your age is different from a grown old man.
Nah, that's a grown. That's still a motherfucker having sex. Like, you know what I'm saying?